Hello again. Welcome to a special edition of CropLife Retail Week. I'm Eric Sfiligoj, editor of CropLife magazine, here with a special guest, John Oster from the Morral's Company, who also is the Agricultural Retailers Association chairperson this year. John, welcome to the studio.
Thank you, Eric. Good to be here.
John, if you could fill our audience in a little bit about ARA today and its membership and a little bit about what its mission is.
Sure. We have at ARA about 300 members, 286, 287 to be exact. Our mission really is to influence, educate, and advocate for issues affecting the retailers here in the United States. And while we focus on retailers themselves, our membership is split between retailers, vendors, suppliers, some big iron companies, some equipment manufacturers of rolling stock for field application, blenders, storage facilities. So it's a broad, diverse group of people that really focus also on the retailers and recognize how important it is to invest in our business and to have a good voice in Washington D.C. on behalf of the retailer. So it's a busy thing. It's a good organization. We have three very bright legal minds that advocate for us on the Hill. They are lobbyists. They do a great job with both in the Senate and the House, advocating for current issues, process safety management, waters of the U.S., whatever the crisis du jour might be that day. And we're very, very active and very much in support of the retailers. That's what ARA is really all about.
No, very good. Well, I know it's been a busy fall so far in Washington, D.C. I know I was just there myself for the recent Environmental Respect Awards event. And, of course, the talk of the town was the Supreme Court nomination and getting that through the Senate. But tell me a little bit more, John, about what our ARA has been working on now as we're into the fall 2018 season and what they're looking forward to going in 2019.
Well, the top three things, Eric, are the Farm Bill, and the Farm Bill. So it's just been top of mind for everyone because we have so many things involved and built into this current version of the Farm Bill for 2018 that would codify and memorialize recent wins that we've had, such as process safety management. We want to major when they're on OSHA's overreach into the handlers of anhydrous ammonia. We had always been exempt on a retail basis, but suddenly someone at OSHA decided that we were going to go ahead and include the retailer in that, even though we do nothing on the process side with ammonia. We simply put it in a storage tank, load it in a nurse tank, send it to the farm. But in their infinite wisdom of overreach at that time and in that environment, they put some pretty honest regulations on us, and we were able to not only defeat that, but we actually did the unheard of. We actually sued OSHA for recovery of some of our legal fees, and we actually got some back. Now we spent $500,000, but we did get $45,000 back. So it was a moral victory, if nothing else. That was one of the things. What's currently going on? CFATS is really hot right now. That's chemical reauthorization, and that's a tough one. We're working on that real hard. Mainly, though, I think mainly it's as if we don't, and we obviously didn't get the Farm Bill passed, but we got to make sure that we keep things like process safety management in there so that this win is codified and is memorialized in, so it does become law, and that's going to be just extremely important. Of course, we're excited about WOTUS, the waters of the U.S. We had a judge overturn part of that, and now 22 states still have WOTUS in effect. And there is a lot going on. There's a court in Georgia now that's looking at it to maybe set it aside for those 22 states, so we have one set of requirements for the United States. We need to re-identify and get that whole thing straightened out so that we have one set of rules for everyone on waters of the U.S. We cannot allow EPA to go out and stick a flag in a farmer's field in a wet spot and say you can't farm that anymore. That's a water of the U.S. Was never intended for that in the original legislation. Shouldn't be there, but so that's the kind of thing we fight.
Okay. I know a lot of what we've heard coming out of Washington this year, of course, has to do with the trade tariff war going on between the U.S. and China. Before we got on camera, you and I were talking a little bit about the impact that the tariffs are having in the agricultural marketplace, but if you could fill in our audience what you've heard out there in the field.
A lot of what we've heard out in the field is concern, but no anger, no animosity toward the present administration, because many of the people with whom I talk already contracted this year's crop, getting over $4 for their corn and over $10 for their beans. They're pretty happy campers right now. They're concerned about the future. The long-term implications of a prolonged situation with China would be that South America really improves its infrastructure and is able to move their crop efficiently and very cost effectively to the port and export it. That would make them a really tough player long term against us in soybeans. But short term, you look at Purdue's $12 billion that has been allocated to do something about this, and you look at 4 billion bushels of beans, 4.4. So you're looking at $3 a bushel of potential aid there, immediate aid to this growing crop, the one being harvested right now, for the farmer. And that's plenty to span the gap between where the price might have been pre-tariff and where it is now. So people aren't that worried. And surprisingly, if you look at the export numbers, Eric, but July and August, you're going to find that we're actually up on bean exports, both booked and shipped for July and August. We have some very, very unusual places beans are going to right now in the world that never did before, because it was so easy to send them all to China, so to speak. And so we're finding other markets. The EU, even it came out this week, Iran is buying beans. I don't understand what they're doing with them. But
yeah.
Can you feed a camel a bean?
I don't know. I suppose we'll have to look into that for the next video.
I'm sorry.
That's all right. That's interesting, though. Yeah. Again, it's interesting, and it's good to know that there are some markets being found for the soybeans. I mean, it sounded like, based on popular press, sounded like a lot of those beans were ending up kind of orphaned or in storage, not really moving. And it's nice to know things are actually moving in the marketplace.
Yeah, the crush on beans is actually really up now too. The projection on the total crush is somewhere well north of 2 billion bushels. So there goes about 40% of the crop, 45% of the crop on this year's yield.
Okay. Well, earlier you had mentioned water, and I know when we had gotten together and during the summertime, you were up visiting our offices, and at that point here in the state of Ohio, where we're based, the governor was actually proposing some legislation that would have qualified crop nutrients as a pollutant. I guess that did not happen, but John, if you want to update us a little bit on what's going on that front.
Well, I can't do that, Eric, without giving a shout out to the Ohio Agribusiness Association. Chris Henney and his crew did a yeoman's job on getting on top of this issue. And when the governor announced 8 watersheds as being distressed in northwestern Ohio, we were ready with a lot of facts to counter that. And in fact, the commission that has voted to table that for further study right now, so they're going to see what the impact is. I think the governor perhaps might be looking at 2020 with some sights on things like that. I'm sorry that he ignored or appeared to ignore all the good that we've done through the 4R Nutrient Stewardship Certification Program. We're touching almost 3 million acres of land drained into the Western Lake Erie Basin with the 4R nutrient stewardship, was using the right product, the right place, the right time, and at the right rate. We're seeing some vast improvement in the amount of phosphorus coming off the field. So we're trying to sequester it, keep it all in the field, and we're doing a good job with it. But regrettably, the governor got a little feisty, I'd say, and went ahead and did that regulation. We'll see where it leads. There are over 6,000 growers right in those watersheds that would be affected, that would have to come up very quickly with nutrient management plans for each field. And it's going to be some onerous legislation. It's going to be really tough on them to comply. We can work with them on that, but we need a little time here to make this thing work. So we need to take the emotion out of this thing and really go to the basics of where the phosphorus comes from, be it ours or industrial or human. Animal waste, of course, is a part, and we need to get all that sorted out and fight each problem as it exists.
Well, obviously, we'll be following this moving forward. So then, John, kind of wrapping up, ARA has their annual meeting coming up here at the end of November, if you'd like to clue us in a little bit.
We do. We have a meeting in Florida. It starts the day after Thanksgiving. We expect to have 400 or so people there. We're going to have a lot of good speakers. Chuck Magro from Nutrien, the CEO of Nutrien, is going to kick things off. We're going to have a lot of panels. We're working actually on having CropLife there to work on a roundtable. That has been a very, very good thing that we've done over the years. It gives people a good chance to interact with retailers on site and talk about current issues, just as we have just now. Yeah. And so it's a great event. It's a 3-day event, and I would encourage retailers that happen to be looking in, catch a wet day here and go ahead and sign up for that. You can go on the ARA website quite easily. Very, very user friendly, and you can get signed up for the meeting, and it'll be you won't be sorry. It's I tell everybody, Eric, that this type of environment has tremendous threats and issues involved, a lot of headwinds, but anytime you have that, you also have tremendous opportunity. All we have to do as an industry is find those opportunities. Going to these meetings is vital, in my opinion, to discover new ways to do the same old thing and be a little bit different.
Okay. Well, as John said, if you're interested in attending or learning more about the ARA meeting, go to www.aradc.org and you can find out the information there. John, thanks for joining us today in studio. Appreciate it, enlightening us on what's going on in the marketplace. Thanks very much for joining us. We'll see you again soon.
Thank you, Eric.